The latest member of the AV Club is someone you will want to get up close and personal with. Her name is TJ Newman. She's working as a flight attendant, making $35,000 a year. And she says, you know what? I'm going to write a book about terrorists hijacking a plane. I'll do it while I'm on these red-eye flights. Yeah, she did that. It got turned down by 41 different literary agents. Finally, the 42nd said yes. And this book, #2 on the New York Times bestseller list. Now, TJ has a new book out. By the way, that was Falling, her old book. This is the new book called Drowning, which is available now in bookstores everywhere, as you can see. I'm already 20 pages in. It's fantastic. And she's a huge baseball fan. It's a pleasure to bring her in right now. TJ, it's great to see you.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'll never get tired of telling your backstory. Each person that I've seen in the hall, I'm like, you got to hear this story because it's so crazy to hear. You're a flight attendant. You write this book. Where did you first get the idea? Like, how did you have the wherewithal, the perseverance to just go on this journey?
Well, I had the idea for the book, for my first book, on a red-eye flight. Actually, both books I had the idea on red-eye flights. And from there, like you said, I started writing by hand in the forward galley. Passengers would go to sleep. I'd go to work. And I'd, write on the back of the passenger manifest or a cocktail napkin. And slowly but surely, I cobbled together a book. And then I started submitting it to literary agents, thinking, I have a good book. And the consensus was, I don't think so. 41 rejections in a row. And the 42nd was my one and only yes.
How did you keep going? Like, did you say in your head, if I get to 50 rejections, I'll stop? Like, how did you keep going?
I didn't have a stopping point. I don't know what the number would have been. Because I don't think the number existed, because I was determined to get that book published. I knew it would connect with people if I could just find the right person to see what I saw, the potential of it. And it only takes one yes, right? And every time I would get close to quitting, which was all the time, because I tell you, I felt every single one of those 41 rejections, I would tell myself, I didn't come this far just to come this far. And I just keep going. 41
rejections, sounds like my dating life. Actually, my wife said yes, just takes one. So, obviously, the book is a huge smash hit. It's #2 New York Times bestseller list. And then Hollywood comes courting, and you get a 7-figure movie deal. How did that happen?
It was a bidding war, and my agent would call me and tell me these incredible names and these incredible stories, and I would just, not know what to say. And at one point, he calls me and he says, all right, we are up to 1.5. And I go, 1.5 what? I had no idea what he was talking about. I was making $35,000 a year. The concept of 1.5 and $1 million, it just didn't compute.
And now your new book is called Drowning. I'm sure it's going to be in New York Times bestseller. We'll find out later next week, I guess, because obviously the book came out Tuesday. But again, you're taking, I guess, the essence. Again, you love terrifying people and the idea of being stuck somewhere. So this time, the plane I'm going to take it is drowning. It's literally underground, and now you've really raised the stakes in your book.
It tells the story of the rescue of Flight 1421, a flight that crashes 6 minutes after takeoff into the ocean. So the passengers immediately evacuate until an explosion forces those who didn't get out in time to close the doors. But it's too late. The plane floods and sinks, with 12 people trapped inside, including a father and his 11-year-old daughter. So now their only hope at survival lies with an elite rescue team on the surface led by her mother and his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Is she good at a pitch or what? And this has already also been sold, the movie rights, for 7 figures.
Yes, that is going to be with Warner Brothers, and that was another insane bidding war process. This one I was really involved in. My agent would call me again. He loves calling me and telling me the most ridiculous things that are normal to him, but he'll say something like, get ready. In 15 minutes, I think there's a really good chance we're going to be on the phone with Nicole Kidman, or a Zoom, so, be ready.
And I believe Steven Spielberg.
And Steven Spielberg, yeah. Then another time he calls and says, oh, by the way, Steven Spielberg's reading your book right now. I have a conversation with him in the morning about it. And I'm just, with the phone to my ear going, there's another Steven Spielberg, right? Like, that's just some guy in Ohio. There's no way you're talking about reading my story, the man that has, shaped my entire creative inspiration. It's surreal.
It's amazing. I know you can't say specifically who's going to be making these books, but the books will be turned into movies. I encourage everyone to read the books and, of course, watch the movies when they come out. Most importantly, though, TJ has been like a little kid walking around the studio. You are a genuinely huge baseball fan.
I am. Since 1998, when the Diamondbacks played their inaugural game, I was sitting at the kitchen table in my parents' house doing my math homework, watching the flyover, watching that roof open, and I was done. There was everything before that moment. There was everything after. It was one of those kind of moments.
Well, how about this? You get to throw out the first pitch. This is the Diamondbacks game on Sunday. So what a thrill this must have been for you. Lifelong Diamondbacks fan, best-selling author. And here you are. The wind-up didn't bounce it. That's the good news.
Didn't bounce it, didn't hit the mascot. That feels like a win to me.
How many times did you, that's Nick Ahmed there that received it. How many times did you practice?
Just one day, just one session. Okay. I didn't want to, get a sore arm or anything.
You didn't call Randy Johnson or something for your agent didn't say, Randy Johnson's on the phone here to show you a few tips.
No, no.
The highlight for a D-backs fan is, of course, the 2001 World Series. So take me through. Where were you? What did you do when Luis Gonzalez got that bloop single?
When he got that bloop single, I was in my parents' living room watching with all my friends. All of us were circled around the TV. I was my senior year of high school, and I didn't do homework for that entire month. The entire playoff series, just no homework was done. And I just remember jumping up and down and crying and being just overwhelmed.
And how about this year's Diamondbacks team right now? They're putting pressure on the Dodgers. They're competing for a division. It must be great right now in Phoenix, the vibe, I can imagine.
It really is. We haven't seen them play like that in a while, and it's really fun to see that kind of young energy. Also, as a flight attendant, one of your favorite parlor tricks here is to try to guess what drink people would drink when you're going on the drink tray. So you want to try right now on me? What do you think I would have if you see me sitting in first class? I would think you might be a coffee drinker? Not a coffee guy. I hate coffee, actually. Really? Yeah, I would go water, but occasionally a Pepsi. Okay. So I'm rusty. I haven't been flying in a while. I'm rusty. But that's a good thing. I'm glad that you are no longer the flight attendant, and now you're this great, prolific author. Do you have any questions for me? I feel like I've been kind of hogging this, so. I feel like, can we talk for another half an hour? Like, look at this office. This is your office. I'm just... You are more than welcome to come by. You do not have to have a book to be hyping up. You are more than welcome. Open invite to come anytime you like. You should have seen her in Studio 42. We could have had you up on the mound, throwing a few pitches. It was awesome. What is it about, last question, what is it about baseball that has you so transfixed? There's endless ways to enjoy it. You can go to a game by yourself and sit there and just take in the game or do a scorecard. You can go with your friends and just have a good time. You can focus on the pitcher, you can focus on the outfield, you can focus on anything. And every aspect of it has its own life in and of itself. It's endlessly fascinating, and I just love it. I knew I'd have such an articulate answer from someone who's a writer. TJ Newman, everyone go check out her new book. It's called Drowning. Her previous book is Falling. They're both outstanding. Thank you for being a part of the AV Club today. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. That is TJ Newman. She's off to a book signing in Manhattan. You're going to see her all over the place.